All right, we back. What up, y'all?
I was just about to throw something in my notes too.
Dude, that's my setup
I forgot what it was.
for productivity. Like,
Yeah.
I have a note in my phone that has like all the, like Apple Notes to-do list shit.
Mm-hmm.
I just throw everything in there, and I have Monday through Friday, and I have the blocks laid out, and every Sunday I go through and lay it all out, exactly what I need to do.
I just put mine in. I used to do that. I put mine in Notion now.
You like Notion?
So there's a lot of different like things like toggles and like.
I like
checkboxes
Notion
and stuff.
too,
It's
but
just
like
easier.
if it's gonna be a system that I use, it has to be easy.
Notion is just a better notes app.
I know, but the problem is not using Notion. The problem is getting the working system all into Notion.
Like what? What do you have to get into Notion?
Dude, like hundreds of Google Docs.
Okay.
I have literally like fucking the Library of Alexandria
$300
stocked in my phone.
$300 a month VA. Switched. Done.
Okay, that I have to still train. That's time.
Data transfer.
You're a fucking hater, bro.
I'm not a hater.
Anyway, welcome back to the Associates. We've had it's been 2 or 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
Well, since we filmed, it's been a bit. But
3 weeks since we filmed, 2 weeks since we posted.
no, we posted last week. Posted email last week.
Okay, so 2 weeks since we
But
filmed.
we're just filming a little bit late. Typically, we film a little bit earlier in the week or maybe a couple
we
days
always
before.
film on Wednesday.
No, we don't. Yeah, okay, so we didn't film last Wednesday, right? We were going to film. Remember, the episode got canceled, and then the other one we didn't film, etc. That's what happened. But we're back. We're here.
We're here. I got a fresh cut, you feel me? I'm faded up.
Yes, sir.
Check this. You know what I'm saying? Damn, bro. It's only been 2 weeks.
What?
It's been 2 weeks since we recorded.
Kind of, maybe. I don't really know the last day.
That's fucked, though, because it feels like it's been 2 months.
Oh, I felt like it's been like 3 days. I don't know.
Get off the drugs, bro.
The time has been moving fast.
That's one thing about Miami that, dude, like time is.
Time is warped here.
I went home, right, and I feel like that's probably part of what we'll discuss today. We don't really have a topic.
Oh, that's probably why it felt so long. How long were you home for? It felt like ages.
4 or 5 days. Went home to see the family.
Okay.
Dude, but like coming here, there's so much going on, and being home, like I'm not gonna push when I'm like hanging out with my mom and dad and like their pets. I'm just gonna kind of relax. It's inherently kind of chill. But that time, man, it felt like I was home for fucking a year. I feel like I missed a year because here everything's just like there's so much going on every day, all day, action, just moving, flying, shaking. Fucking things are happening, bro.
What do you feel like you missed? Because I don't feel like you really missed anything. You weren't gone that long, but it feels like you were gone a while.
I didn't miss anything. Like, I did everything I needed to do. I got on all my calls, posted all the things I needed to, like, moving things forward. But it takes away that time for, like, there's a big difference between me doing, like, the bare minimum and then me feeling like I'm getting ahead, which is, like, starting to build a backlog and starting to do these, like, big, deep, lever-moving tasks that, because actually push things forward.
When you're in that, like, quote, like, bare minimum or whatever, you're doing, like, the same thing day to day to stay. And you don't feel like you're making the actual progress.
Yeah, because the progress comes when you're not talking to anyone. You're just at home.
For me, for example, and this is you're asking me, like, what are you doing right now? Like, why are a couple of certain things behind?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, we had the situation where business partner left, and a lot of things got transferred over. So I'm redoing a lot of different things, like in a different way.
Deep needle, like deep work kind of tasks.
Kind of, but it's like. Dude, just like a lot of different spreadsheets, I want them a certain way, and I want to train the team a certain way to do it like the way I feel is most efficient. So I have to go and change a lot of different things. Or like content for clients. I'm transferring the whole system over from what it was to what it is going to be now, and then I have to put a couple more people on the back end to like write and stuff like that. So I'm like day to day not only doing tasks to make sure the system does not stop, but also building a new system on the back end.
Yeah. So that's something I would consider like it's like a needle mover, like building a system.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like I don't get done at home at all, just because I'm not going to do that the time I do get to see my family. But it was really interesting, man.
For sure. And let's kind of touch back on like what this episode is going to be, because we didn't usually come into these episodes with like, you know what, we got an idea. We're going to talk about this today.
Yeah.
We're just kind of
free flowing.
We're just
having a
throwing it out there today.
conversation. Yeah, it
you
was
know,
really
a lot of these.
Go ahead.
For it.
Go. What were you gonna say?
A lot of these podcasts talk about recent news and stuff like that. I don't watch any news. I don't know what's going on.
I have no idea.
At the outside world.
Actually, no idea.
Yeah. What were you gonna say though? Sorry.
No, it was just good going home. A lot of perspective.
Let's talk about that, because you mentioned it to me and you said some stuff, but I would love to go like further in depth on that.
Yeah, man, it was, and I wrote a big thread about it on Twitter. But it was really interesting, just like starting to see. It was very vindicating too, like starting to see the actual like real world progress. Because I feel like every time I go home, I feel like I've made a quantum.
When was the last time you were home?
Christmas.
So it's been 7-8 months?
Yeah. It's been kind of my typical schedule since I moved to Florida. It's like twice a year, summer and then Christmas.
Gotcha.
Just go home. But it was really, sorry, the Zin's kicking my ass right now. In the best way. Shout out to Zin, our sponsor of this episode. Just kidding. They don't sponsor us. But it was very, like, every time I go home, I feel like I've made a quantum leap of progress. You know, like, and this time it was really interesting because it's really tough for me to, like, even just, you know, all of the health stuff, like, just seeing my family age, right? Because I love them, and they're just, and then, like, seeing just, not just them, but, like, my hometown, which is a small, like 100,000 person city in Ohio, right? Like nothing crazy.
Like 100,000 metro or 100,000 just in the city? Because metro would be all the suburbs, city combined, everything.
Maybe a little bit bigger than that metro, but like, yeah, 100, probably close to the metro, like 120 or 150,000 metro, including the suburbs that are, once you get outside of that, it's cornfield. So
yeah. It's like, that's how like Syracuse is. And it's like 10 minutes city to farm. Yeah,
and it's very much Midwest, you know, kind of Rust Belt era stuff. And so just seeing how, like, the way the world is going, and seeing, you know, the progress we've been able to make, like kind of leveraging the internet and doing these things. Mm-hmm. And also for me, like, I just feel like everyone at home, you know, was stressed about like two things. Like, number one, either financial stress or like work stress or just like, or health problems. And that's kind of or, you know, for some of the, I mean, my like buddies that I'm tight with, like, are all doing pretty well on their different path for sure, but that's okay. Like, but it was just interesting seeing, like, that's the primary avenue of stress. And sometimes there's been times for me where it's like, it doesn't feel, I know we've talked on the pod about like, you know, building offline real world kind of businesses, but it's very vindicating that we're on the right path, because everything we're doing, like, for me, the health stuff is obviously a little bit just more pertinent, but obviously you're working out and doing all this stuff too.
Yep. It's pertinent for you because you have a business that sells the product.
Yeah, of course. But you're doing all the same shit, you know, like actually taking care of ourselves the right way, and doing these things where we can start to build equity and build brand and build skill sets and just like overall sovereignty.
You get to a point where you just can't go back, right? We've built out of that point. Like maybe 3 years ago, let's say I failed maybe for another year of what I was doing, I would still be able to go back to like working at a sales job or something that wasn't my own thing, me making my own decisions. Now there's zero, like, I can't go back. Yeah.
And it was just really like, there's been times where it's like, I felt like I was building selfishly, right? Like the beginning stages of entrepreneurship, I feel like for most people are this process of like kind of building out of ego or selfishness or insecurity, like these little things. And it was really vindicating to see like, wow, like the stuff we're doing is solving these problems in our lives or in the people that we work with's lives. And actually, like, there's just been times over the past 3 years where I feel like, And it's like, oh, it's cool, whatever, but like, what am I really doing? Why am I doing this? You know, kind of thing. Like, what am I really doing? Am I making a good impact on the world doing this stuff? And seeing that and seeing the disparity made me feel like for the first time, maybe not the first time, but it really cemented it, that it's like, wow, I really feel like I'm doing something good by doing this, you know? And I also feel like I'm starting, because it genuinely, it solves those problems that in my opinion, I guess, like, are a big problem for a lot of people in a place like my hometown. Like, Miami's a bubble, kind of. At least the people we interact with are all doing these things.
It's definitely the people we interact with.
Yeah, definitely the people we interact with. But we live in this bubble, and it's sometimes just like, you know, it doesn't feel real, but it felt very real. And like I'm doing a good thing for the world. And I feel like I've maybe transitioned out of like that selfish place of building a business, you know, where it's like, oh, I'm not doing this because I want to feel important or because I want to be able to go do these selfish things that I want. Like, I can do all those things. I have relative freedom. I enjoy doing the things that I'm doing all the time. I mean, obviously there's always times where it feels like work, but I enjoy what we're doing. I enjoy talking to clients for either of my businesses, the Launch Socials or people I train. Yeah, man. And it just felt like, I felt like it was a big transition. Every time I go home, it's always like a perspective shift, and it feels like, wow, it like cements a chapter. And now I really feel like I am building something out of not these like egoic things. Oh, I want to have money to fucking go to the club and be a dipshit, or like, oh, I want to have money so that I can, you know, not do this, or so that I can alleviate my own insecurity. I think people are really weird about admitting that they have insecurity. Everybody does. I don't know, but it felt like now I am starting to, like, I feel like I'm building now out of
with a purpose, a better purpose,
a purpose that I feel is not.
What is it though?
Like, to help, like, ultimately, like, build the world that we want to live in, you know, helping people take care of their health so that they can feel good and go do these things, or helping people understand how to position themselves from a marketing standpoint. That's really what we do, marketing or sales, really, or just structurally from a business design standpoint, where they can, you know, have some sovereignty over their finances, have sovereignty over their health. Yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like I'm becoming a man slowly but surely.
That's funny. I would say I probably realized maybe it's probably a lot further back where I started to realize like the purpose that I had with it. And it wasn't, dude, like, it's funny because when I left my sales job selling cars, which I say that all the time. I feel like I mentioned selling cars all the time. But when I left it, I said to one of the sales guys that I was like friends with him, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be back in like 6 months. I'm going to buy this Chevy ZL1 like Camaro.
Yeah.
Which is a super cool car, right? And I didn't end up like getting it. But that was like my purpose then. It was very like selfish of like, I'm just going to build to get this car.
Yeah.
And the cars are cool and it's fun.
Yeah,
right? It's great.
Sure.
And you should do that. You should enjoy your life. That's how I view it.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. I want to expressly
not
state.
At all. I think it's great.
There's nothing wrong with
driving fast.
Wanting
incredibly
to
fun.
Make money and build so that you can have something yourself. Like, it's good to do that.
For sure. But I think the bigger purpose is really like family for me, and leaving some kind of legacy, or just building so like the kids that I have will have something to build on, if that makes sense. And taking care of my parents and my sister and extended family, etc.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it for me. Just the people that like took care of me as a kid, I want to make sure that they're taken care of. We can go do anything in the world, anything crazy, etc.
Yeah. And that was, I think you probably had that sooner, just because I think you progressed financially faster than I did, if that makes sense. Like, you got there sooner, maybe. But yeah, man, it was just like, it was really like, just like, fuck, dude, this is like real, you know, just seeing like my mom or my dad who are both doing well. You know, they're doing their
Yeah.
thing. Or just like seeing, because like when I go home, I live with my dad, quote unquote, or like live with him, right?
Yeah.
And just seeing how hard he works, but he's still just like stressed, and I just don't want that for him.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Or just anyone in my, I want to be able to provide things to everyone that's around me that I care about. And that's,
I can relate to that because you know my mom still works, but I don't want her to work.
Mm-hmm.
If she wants to work, she should work.
I want her to
for
work
me.
on things that she wants
Or
to work
work
on.
with me in the family business or
Yeah.
something like that. I think that's where I'd love to be. But like my dad, he's retired.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they want to leave New York, but they can't really leave New York yet because they're taking care of family and that type of thing. So it's a kind of a weird situation because I could get them to Florida right now and it'd be good, but they don't want to leave, or you know, it's kind of
my family's kind of in a similar position.
yeah.
But like, if we fucking just go hard in
But
the
if we
paint,
make $100 million,
then
then
it doesn't matter.
then literally, it's almost like a no-brainer to just like okay and move everybody. Like
Yeah.
everybody's coming.
Yep.
down.
We're
You know?
buying the compound. You're here
Mhm.
now, and it's good.
Yes, and you don't have a choice.
So true. That's a really interesting topic. Like, I feel like there's just so many. The mainstream conversation about money is just so. It's first off, it's like not talked about at all.
So
And it
money's
really,
not
like-
talked about. You mean?
Like it's looked like people are
It's
like
looked down on if you talk about money.
yeah. It's like you
I
shouldn't.
hate that.
That's rude. You shouldn't talk about money.
I
like,
hate that.
dude, money buys happiness. It does.
yeah.
If money buys happiness, if you can give your, the people that you
I would
care
say,
about,
okay, it doesn't directly. People are gonna take that clip and be like, "Oh, money buys happiness." Blah, blah. They don't
it
know what
does
they're
buy
talking about.
happiness. If you can go take care
money,
of your
money
family.
buys the things. Money buys the access and the things and the potential for happiness.
For sure, yeah.
Right?
But also too, like it does, in a lot of ways, it does kind of buy happiness because I know so many people that like they're working and they do well, but they don't enjoy what they do. And it's
Yeah.
like if you can get to the point where you can build a little bit of sovereignty and have some control over those things, you can have less of that stress and be fulfilled in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it was just super fucking vindicating to see like what we've been able to do.
When other people told you it was like the wrong move.
Yeah. I mean, I think that
Is that why it was vindicating, or is it just vindicating because you had self-doubt before? Like,
I think we all had self-doubt when we started.
sure. I'm just trying to dig a little deeper. It's a sales call.
Yeah.
Why? Just keep
Because it's just like it was just vindicating that we're on the right path, I guess. Like the things that we are doing
when society says else.
are
Like,
fundamentally solving this problem. When so many people would be like, "Oh, that's just what does that even do?"
yeah.
We got the fucking fanboys in the
On
TikTok
TikTok?
comments. What do you guys know about
Let's talk
running
about
a
that for a
business?
sec. That's crazy.
It's really interesting to me.
There's like,
I mean,
I've probably seen 10 positive comments out of maybe 1,000 comments.
well, it's funny because I feel like we're like, if
I
you
feel
would
like we're
show
not
me those
seeing-
clips, I would be like, "Oh, that's super tame." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we're not seeing anything crazy. And people are freaking out. Like, if you guys are watching this right now, you just go look up our TikTok, Associates Pod, and just look at, you don't even have to follow. I don't even care if you follow. Just go look at the comments. The comments are just
It's
insane.
hilarious.
It's actually really fun. We talked about this.
Mhm.
This is kind of like the next level of the conversation that you were just saying or we were just having.
Mhm.
Is we live in a different reality, genuinely, than most people live in. Just the way they think, in just terms of comments, right?
Mhm.
The way they're commenting and the way they think is just not in our reality. And the only time we come into contact with it is when they come in contact with our reality
Yeah.
of like, this is what we think.
Yeah.
So it's very clashing, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's otherworldly.
Yeah.
The comments.
It's super interesting. I mean, I'm cool with it. Keep feeding
Yeah,
us
it's
clicks
great.
and energy.
It's
I'll
great.
just keep getting stronger. I'm fine with being the villain. But I think you have to kind of, because there's always going to be, like, if you're going to do anything, there's just going to be people, like, look at
course.
anyone, dude. Like, I remember seeing something, like, someone posting about Hormozy saying, like, this guy's a scammer. He never says how he makes money. And I'm like,
I saw that.
Like, it's
And I was
crazy how
they wrote a whole thread about it.
Yeah.
I saw a whole thread about Hormozy's a scammer, and he doesn't say how he makes money. And he literally makes 50 videos on how he makes money.
He can literally give you step by step the whole process. Yeah. And it's just like, whoa, dude, like, that's fucked. Like,
yeah. But it's just people coming from a different
bad,
perspective.
Honestly. Like, I wish these people well. Like, I hope that they can.
I'm wondering if I feel bad or not.
I just can't imagine. Like, what is their life like? Deep down, like, it reminds me of like the Gary.
What do you think the
like Gary V, like, reply with kindness? You know, it's
yeah.
like, damn, bro, they gotta be in a bad place. Probably.
Do they even know they're in a bad place?
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't really care
They subconsciously know, but they don't, like, they're just not cognizant of the fact that they don't like the place that they're in. Yeah. I just shook my mic, so it's not going to be good. But yeah, that's a very interesting
egregore.
And so let's talk about different realities and different, like, perspectives, and maybe go a little bit spiritual on this and what you think that looks like. Because I have an idea of it, but I want to hear from you and your thoughts on that. Because we also talked about different realities of, like, when you go home, it's a different reality. It's a different. People are just living different.
Yeah.
We're not in our bubble anymore at that point. So what do you think? Is that a real thing?
Yeah. I think, and it is kind of spiritual. Man, I think that a lot of people, honestly, I feel like society as a whole, like, lacks, like, in general, society as a whole lacks a personal relationship with God. Not that I'm super, like, I'm not super secular,
okay,
but I have my own relationship with God and faith in that, and just, like, genuine belief that things will go the way that they are, and I just feel like, or with the way that they should.
As I've gotten older, there's a lot of crossover between the church and God and Christianity and even other religions, and, like, law of attraction and all these different mindset things and stuff you'd see, like, Neville Goddard talking about. So
I love Neville Goddard.
It all overlaps. And it's the same way they talk about energy in terms of law of attraction and whatnot. It's the same thing that happens in terms of prayer when you're talking to God. But that's not talked about in churches.
No.
It's not talked about in churches. And really, to me, if you cross those two over each other, it becomes very powerful. And you start to, the picture starts to become painted.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I just feel like that, overarchingly, I think that is, like, the thing that's kind of missing in the world or America. I've been other places in the world, but not enough. I haven't, like, lived there to be able to say, oh, this, that, or the other. But I can directly speak on America, and I just feel like there's, I don't know, people, like, we all need hope and faith, and that's what gives you the ability or not to enter a better reality. If you don't have faith and belief, like, it's very hard to.
Yes. And on that note, additionally, there's something that I think about sometimes, and it's we've been, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, whatever, we've been gifted with this opportunity of whatever existence we're experiencing right now. And a lot of people do not fully wrap their minds around it, and I think it plays on your part. We're lacking that in society. A lot of people do not pay attention and appreciate what we have, and they waste it, and they do not maximize their life to the fullest degree. If they were playing a video game, they would maximize every stat to the fullest degree, but they're not playing this video game to the fullest degree. It's very kind of sad.
Yeah, and I hope that, if you're listening to episode, is this 8? Episode 8?
Episode 8.
Episode 8 of The Associates.
That's it? We've only done 8?
Because none of, like, everything for me, from my experience, everything,
Gotta record more.
whether it's health related, or financially related or creatively, like, for me, all of those things would have never been possible, or they just wouldn't exist if I didn't start from the place of like faith and belief. And to me, that was the actual stepping stone to everything else.
Yep.
You know, when I was fucking hurt and like in a really weird place with my health and broke as fuck, I'm, 20, was at that point, in a state of depression, loosely for me. I just didn't feel good about myself or my life, and decided to make a big change. And the only way I was able to do that is because I had, kind of a blind faith in belief and hope. And
let me ask you this. Was it a blind faith in God specifically? Were you thinking, oh, it's a blind faith in God, like God's going to take me there? Or was it just a blind faith in what you were thinking in the future and the energy you were putting out there to like get better?
I mean, definitely like believe in myself, but when I was in those,
was it God's got me energy? Was it that? Or was it, like what else I described, belief in self and the vision, etc.?
Like kind of a cross between the two, I would say. Like it was basically like I was put in those bad positions, and the saving grace for me in those bad positions. Like at that point, I started like, reading. At that point, I was reading the Bible a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like doing that every night. And it's so funny, man. I still do. I oscillate sometimes on consistency with it, but like was praying every night, like just asking for more than anything answers, I think. And when you do that and it's very much related to like you said, the law of attraction, you could call it, or whatever you want to fucking label the term with. But I was putting that energy out there, and I think that what I got back was the inspiration to kind of do these things and showing me a path where I could do those things.
Yes.
It was really interesting.
One of the things that the reason I asked that question is because one of the things that I see often, because I grew up going to church very consistently, and I believe in God still to this day, of course, but one of the things I see most often with people that are hardcore, like going to church all the time, by the book, etc., is that they have a lot of, oh, God will take care of me, and then they don't really take action in regards to their goals and things that they're trying to do, etc. They're just they're hoping for something and wishing for something without action. And I see that from people on like the law of attraction side, right? Oh, I'm just going to attract this into my life. I'm going to manifest it. But then they don't take the actions to actually go and manifest it. And I absolutely hate that. And I think it's probably the worst thing you could do. And I've tried to stay away from that as much as possible. And thank you for filling up my water. Servant. You're my servant today.
You're very welcome. You've been a good girl, so I did it. Yeah, man, it's definitely...
Ooh, gotta change the filter on that.
Is it lemony?
Ooh.
Nick's sink water. The fluoride pack. That's a funny thing to interject as we're talking about faith. If you want to have faith, get rid of the fluoride expeditiously.
Pineal gland.
Yeah. Fluoride is not good. Fluoride-free toothpaste. Only. Fluoride-free water. Shower filters.
I don't have a shower filter. I should get one. Do you have one?
Yes.
You have a shower filter?
Yeah, but it's not hooked up. That's funny, actually. I have had them in the past, though.
Yeah. I need one. Continue. You were going to answer me.
Yeah, it's definitely like... I think that's, too, like, one of the things that maybe discompels people away from faith is the idea that, like I've seen, you see, like, in, like, atheist arguments. And, again, I'm not super secular, but I guess the main thing you could classify me as is maybe agnostic, right? But I think that's one of the arguments you see is, like, people with, oh, if God's real, then why do bad things happen? And it's like, because
they happen to teach us a lesson. They happen to force growth.
No, they happen because people are still in control of their actions.
Okay, yes, but also I truly believe that bad things happen as a means for us to grow. If bad things didn't happen, we have no stimuli for us to get better. There's no reason for us to improve if everything's all hunky-dory, like, great.
Yeah, but also, too, a lot of that is perspective. Like, what do you label as a good thing or a bad thing? You know what I mean?
Okay, for sure.
Like, I'm thinking, they're like, oh, why do people murder? You know, if God's real, then why do murders happen? Well, because we still have control of our actions, and that is just there as
we have free will.
As a guide, you know? But yeah, man, I think that's one thing that kind of turns people off from it is like this idea that like, oh, there's not immediate turnaround time and benefit. And it definitely has turned me off from the quasi spiritual stuff as well, in terms of like, oh, well, like it's not doing anything for me. You know what I mean? And so I think you have to set the goalpost for it as it's something that should guide you, not dictate you.
Yes, I like that. I like how you said that. It's like a guiding principle, and then the actions you take follow that principle. And the actions you take are what actually gets you to that level. And you still pull ideas and thoughts, etc., out from whatever energy is just out there.
Yeah.
That's like one thing that a gripe I have against like going to church and stuff. There's a lot of people there that I used to go to church very consistently when I was growing up. There's a lot of people there that are just hoping and waiting for something to happen that's going to be good, and they're wishing for something when that's all they're doing. They have half of it.
God gave you the inspiration so you could act on it. And to deny that would be
very ungodly
disservice to God.
And he doesn't like that. That's why bad things happen to you.
Is that what he told you?
I don't know.
So what? Let's take a segue, because that was an interesting conversation.
That was an interesting conversation.
But I always want the associates to be like, I was thinking about this a lot. Like, I feel like nobody else like really shows behind the curtain, you know?
Yeah.
In the content world, like everything's very postured, and I get it. Like we all somewhat do, you know, like to an extent. Like
just talking about how people talk about their lives.
Well, yeah, like we're obviously gonna show
the best parts.
Show our good parts, right? Because that's what we want to present to the world, is the best version of ourselves. But I would love to know kind of like where you're at in terms of the actions, you know, like what's going on with you
this is good.
Right now, you know?
This is good. Yeah. We can dive way into it. Yeah, so recently like finalizing everything with the split at my agency that I've had for 3 years. Business partner decided to leave. We're 50-50 partners. No worries. We're just getting through it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of transition there. And you think you got one thing set, and another thing pops up. So I think that'll probably last for the rest of this month until, you know, everything's like fully positioned on point. Hiring new people, new editors, new writers, etc., and really building the system there, because I think I'm going to scale it. I think I'm going to scale up the agency a little bit more once it gets systemized. And things are becoming a little bit easier, actually, because it used to be, like the meta on IG used to be tweets and writing, etc., etc., and that's still there. It still exists to a degree, but really it's videos now. And for us to come up with video topics and write scripts is much easier for us to write full length, like all completed, done, like tweet style or carousels, etc. Right? So the writing burden is less. That means we can get lower talented people, right? Which means it's easier to hire those people, right? We could probably outsource more of it to virtual assistants in the Philippines, which is cheaper, which is good. So that's what I'm working on right now. We're obviously working on our coaching offer, which we're about to start pushing a lot. People in there are getting like crazy good results. I'm super excited about it. We're hoping a lot of people, you know, start their personal brands, and testimonials are starting to come out. It's been like 2.5 months since we started. Do we want to talk about the numbers that we've sold? We sold like 100K worth of spots in 2.5 months to
I mean, I don't really give a shit because, again, I feel like nobody talks about these things.
Yeah. We sold,
and it's all very vague unless it's like, you know, here's my numbers, buy my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like we did about 100K in sales. for our coaching offer that teaches people how to start personal brands in 2.5 months,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. We're getting testimonials now. We're going to start cranking up ads and hopefully get more people in and more people join. And well, no, not hopefully. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we're going to help a lot of people. It's fun. It's exciting. It's really exciting. And then on the other side, I'm just partnering. I don't like to say partnering, but I'm working with someone in the theme page space because I have a ton of people in my DMs. Hey man, how do I do theme pages? And I haven't had an answer for them for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, now we're gonna have an answer for that, and I'm just gonna be able to help people grow theme pages in 2022. So that's great, and all full steam ahead. And then I think before the end of the year, I want to get a property under my belt.
Cool.
Something big, like 20, 30 units.
Are you gonna try to raise? You're gonna raise money, obviously, right?
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know where. Do you know where? Or ideas where?
Not here. not here. Somewhere else in Florida, probably.
Okay.
Somewhere else in Florida. But definitely not. It's too expensive here.
It's so expensive here.
The cap rates are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like people are trying to sell their properties for a 3 to 4 cap, and I'm like, dude, well, I'm not gonna make any money on this. It's ridiculous. So I don't know who's buying that stuff. Probably institutions. But that's where I'm at, man. I'm feeling great. I'm loving everything. It's just getting through this transition, and I view this as like a launch pad. Like it's almost like a clean slate, fresh start. And I was, do you know Andre?
Mm-hmm.
Andre Hakel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out Andre. What's up, boy? We were texting.
Boom.
We were texting the other day.
Andre loved the boom.
Boom. Yeah, we were texting the other day, and I told him about the split or whatever. He's like, man, like best of luck to you. I know you're gonna take advantage of it. But he brought this up about 2 years ago. He had a split with him and Christian, his partner, had a split with their business partner at their first agency, and he's like, look, man, like when I asked you for advice at that point, because I'd been a business a little bit longer than them. When I asked you for advice at that point, I told you that, or you told me, this is what he said, that you should, I told him, I told him that he should treat it as like a launch pad, a clean slate, just a fresh start, because you don't get those often. Once you're in something, you don't get to start over. You don't get a do-over often, right? And he took advantage of that, and now they're doing big numbers. They're doing great. Yeah. They partnered with like Cold Email, who we had on last episode, et cetera, et cetera. So they're doing amazing, and I view it the same way. I got a clean slate to build it exactly how I want. Because when you have a partner, there's always some give and take. There's always some compromise, right? If you want it to work, there's got to be compromise. It can't always be your way. Yeah. Right. Well, now I have the opportunity to build it exactly how I want it, make the decisions I want it, do it at the pace I want to, because I don't have to, negotiate or compromise with someone else to make decisions. I just do it. Yeah. So
the feedback loop is much faster.
Exactly. So I view it as a huge opportunity for me, and I'm super excited, bro. That's where I'm at.
That's awesome, dude. I'm excited too. I can totally relate. I know we talked about it earlier in the podcast, like one episode, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 or some shit like that. Maybe even the first one. Obviously, Kevin and I had split up, and it was just better. I think he's happier. I'm happier. It is just easier. It's definitely tough to have partners in business. Yeah. It's very, very tough.
Depending. It's dependent. Like for our coaching, right? We're partners. But the fulfillment would not be done if it was just me. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't think it would have moved as fast as it's moved if it was just you.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's worked really, really good so far. And I think you and I probably, and people say don't work with your friends, but honestly, because we were friends first, I think it worked better.
Yeah, way better. Way better. Just because we spent so much time too, like, in here in your apartment, like, just working, Yeah. It's kind of what we do for fun. It's kind of hilarious. But that's to bring me back to, like, where I'm at, right, is just, like, to me, dude, it's, like, I'm so excited because I genuinely love, like, obviously there's always going to be times where it feels like work. Yeah. But, like, you heard me on our call today. Like, I was just fucking geeked up. Like, so excited to be there and be
sorry. It's so much more fun. I interrupted you, but so much more fun when people are getting results.
Yeah,
and you see people like making money, and
that's the next thing. Like, I really feel good about like
what we're doing.
Yeah, I remember when I was selling other people's offers, and that was always like the bane of it. I was like good. I've always been really good on the phone. Like very, very good at selling. Yeah. But it would always hold me back because there would always, make maybe 3 weeks in, I'd get some like negative feedback from somebody I'd sold, and I'd be like, fuck, dude, this is a scam.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And it feels really good to be able to
I can relate to
really,
that so much.
really genuinely help people do something that they want to do.
I can relate to that so much because when I was selling cars, someone would come to us and it's like, okay, they need a car, but they don't really need a car, and they're cashing out their last like $50K in investments to put a down payment on this $100,000 truck, and it's like, dude, like I'm in the business of making money. I'm here to sell you this car, but damn, man, like that's stupid. Like I don't know what you're doing right now.
Facts.
Like
No.
there's no reason you should be giving me this money right now.
Yeah.
You don't need this vehicle.
And
I felt really bad about it. It did
Yeah.
not feel good.
And now for me, like, it's just a really exciting. I'm in the place that I always wanted to be, you know. And I feel like a lot of the things that I did, because I had such a and I still kind of do, such a disdain for authority. You know, I didn't want to be told what to do. I wanted to be able to do things my way on my own time. I put myself under a lot of stress early in my entrepreneurial career, you know, like letting my life inflate before it should have, or my lifestyle, or like things I was doing, or just like, and it felt like a hamster wheel of stress of like, oh, I got to do this to like just make it work. And you need that, you grow from it. But the whole time I was just like, man, if I could just extend my timeline out and think longer term, like I'd be able to do so much more. And now I really feel like I've been able to do that. And my life is just really simple. Like I just wake up.
And now it's a matter of scale. It's a matter of scaling the exact thing you do right now.
Yeah, that's it. And it makes, it's just really fun because I just feel like there's nothing left for me to do except just keep working on being the fucking best, you know? Become the best at creating short form video on the internet, become the best at, you know, providing a simple, easy, sustainable framework for people to build health. And I can just focus on that, you know, rather than like all these different other things or just like stupid shit. It's just simple, man. I just get to I love to train. I actually love marketing like a lot. I just love it, you know, it's so fun. You get to marketing to me is like making memes on mass scale, like for a living, you know, and it's, super interesting to be able to do, you know, make music or make videos or just like do these fun, creative things that I'm just like happy, locked in.
Yeah. What else is going on in your world? What's the rest of the year look like?
The rest of the year. Well, man, like we're in a place now, like there's a lot of it, for me that now is like, okay, how can I expand? And a lot of that involves not just, you know, me doing things, but like you said, helping people that I'm bringing in to do things, which is just a different level of responsibility. Yeah. Which is great. And
it's like the push to the next level.
Yeah. You know, how can I help Noah here become a god?
Or Ben. Or stay awake.
Or bang. You know, just like these little things. It's like my own growth is not predicated on my growth anymore. It's predicated on other people's growth.
You have all the tools. You now need to take whatever skill set's in your brain, extract it, place it in someone else, systemize it so they can do it on their own and simply manage them over and over and over. And that's how we rescale.
Yeah, exactly. Either on our internal side or on the client side, and just like.
And the beauty in it, think about this. The beauty in it is the same stuff you teach clients or students, whatever we want to call them, people that join Launch Socials and we help, is the same things we practice in our business and teach our employees how to do. So you just talk about the same things all day long to your internal and your external. Yeah. All day. Same thing.
The same thing. It's super simple. I think chasing that simplicity is really, really important. Because then like now, like I'm just able to, I just have to get better at my craft, right? And if I can just keep doing that, and you know, keep my head on straight, which much better at 23 and a half than I was at maybe 21 and a half I was a dipshit at 21, honestly. The meme or like the idea that like guys' brains develop, like you're not fully developed mentally until you're 25, I think is super true. Super true.
You think so?
Yeah, every year I notice like a little, just like, wow.
Yeah, I would say.
An
like,
astounding amount
when
of
I'm in the moment,
extra maturity.
Like, I remember myself in the moment maybe a year ago. I was like, oh, I'm super mature.
Yeah.
But then I look back and I'm like,
yeah.
wait a minute.
I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's almost like gym progress, too. You're like, dude, I look so big right now. And then I look back and I'm like, dude, what was wrong with me? Like, I made a ton of progress. You know, I was so small. That's super interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, like, thinking about that, too, and I know we've talked about, like, you know, delayed gratification and all these things of, like, thinking long-term to be able to do these things consistently over time. But one thing that I think is, I don't know, it was just another interesting thought that I've been having recently is, like, how important work actually is, you know? Like, genuinely how important work is. Work is super important. If people didn't, like, being of service and working is maybe the most, like, one of the most fundamental human traits, I think. You know? The ability to go ahead and, come on, dude, we're recording. Put your phone down.
It's an important thing.
It'll be all right. You're turning into Jake now.
I'm
taking calls and
okay.
texts all the time.
All right.
You'll be okay. It's not that important.
Just continue.
But being able to work and is like super. Like when I first started, you know, I thought I was doing it so that I could get rich, so that I didn't have to work. You know what I mean? But man, I can't imagine how.
That's what everyone says.
Empty my life would be if I couldn't work. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of where I say, oh, I'm not trying to go chill at the beach all day, every day for the rest of my life. I'm just not interested in that. I'm interested in going to the beach. It's fun, right? But I think a lot of people
going every morning.
I think a lot of people are
great.
I think a lot of people are like, hey, I want to. This is good, but you're doing it in a way that makes sense because then you go and work and you have a purpose. A lot of people I'm just gonna go to the beach today. I'm just gonna sit there just like every other day I've done this year, and it's just like, don't you get bored after a while?
Yeah, I mean, but I had that same thought, you know, for the longest time. Like, oh, I just want to be able to do this. So so I can go and do that. And I think for me, it's been one of the most impactful, like, I just am happy right now. Like, I just get to wake up and do it all again tomorrow. And I think that for anyone listening, I would implore you to try to find something where your vocation and your work can be something that you look forward to, or find ways to make it something you look forward to, just because you just can't lose that way. I feel like
you wake up and win.
Wake up and win, but first go to the beach.
That's cool,
dude. You gotta come to the early morning beach.
What time?
Be there at. I don't know why I'm checking.
While you're on your phone, put your phone down.
I was checking the time to see what time tomorrow, but I know what time tomorrow. I don't know, like 7:15.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning. See you there, mayhaps.
Maybe we'll talk about it after the podcast.
What is the maybe? Why you gotta do it with the cameras off?
I gotta drive there.
Okay.
I don't want to drive there. Although driving to the beach in the mornings, no one knows this. Driving to the beach there's no one on the road.
Yeah.
So I can go as fast as I want. And it's awesome. Yeah.
So we'll see you in the morning at the beach. It's so nice in the morning, dude. Like, there's no one there. The sun is just coming up, but it's still hot as fuck because we live in the.
How were the waves this morning?
Dude, the water's glass.
Yeah.
There's no waves.
Last Saturday was great. 2 Saturdays before and 3 Saturdays before, dude, it was crazy.
But not that early. When you're there that early, there's not.
I was there at 8 a.m.
Well, we're there at 7 a.m.
Well, I was there on Saturday. Were you there on Saturday?
Well, you're sleeping. We're working.
I didn't see you Saturday.
I was in Ohio.
The Saturday before that, I didn't see you either.
I was doing something that Saturday. I don't remember. But what else is new, man? This is a cozy episode of The Associates.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of like it.
It's good. Next episode, a little more high octane. We'll have our friend.
We're gonna have Brian on?
Brian on.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'll be fun to geek out about marketing again for an hour and a half.
Ad spend?
Oh, that was one of the funniest rants. That's something that's new. Is I'm gonna start running some fucking paid traffic, dog.
Yeah, you're talking about that. What? Okay. We were talking about numbers before. What does the end of year look like? You know, what are you trying to be at the end of the year? What are you at now? What are we at now? Right, like talking through. Obviously, we have a partnership on the coaching. Where are you trying to be at in terms of numbers and like ad spend and what you're doing with that?
100 a month. I have to hit that.
Profit or revenue?
Profit. 100 a month.
So you got to do what in rev?
Well, we're 50. Not that much. Like, not that much more. My business is a pretty high margin.
120?
Yeah, probably. Well,
we're gonna drop a bag on ads.
Yeah, true.
So,
I don't know, maybe like 150.
Yeah.
Cool. 50 from each entity, plus
Solid.
some T-shirts here and there.
What are you gonna do with the 100?
What?
What are you gonna do with the 100?
I don't know. Probably. Well, at that point, the only like that's the thing. That's my next thing is like paid traffic. Everything I've built has been super organic.
Okay. You spent 150 or no, revenue 150 came in. You spent 50. You made 100. 100 profit is coming into your bank every single month.
Buy my time back.
Okay. So you're gonna keep investing.
Start investing heavily.
Investing in.
Well, we'll buy my time back, which is investing in people, and then start investing in like what we talked about with the just buying assets or more. I mean, I have some. It's not like I'm but like actually buying assets like at scale.
Auto drip.
I would love to buy.
Did you set that up? I thought you were gonna set that up.
No, I didn't set that up. I went home and like. I'm still investing in growth though. Like
yeah, for sure. No, I'm just teasing you. Bro.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, do that. Man, I would love to buy some buildings, but just keep growing it. Like, I don't know. I don't like. Right now, I'm just in the point where I just keep doing my daily routine until the end of time. I might take some trips. I want to go to California.
What happened to going to Italy?
I don't know. I think we all just kind of gotten busy. I'm still down to go. But it's just like, when do we go?
I'll probably go next year.
I think what I'm going to do is California. Where else did I want to go? I wanted to visit somebody somewhere.
California would be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to bring Ben and film a bunch of stuff.
I've not been there in a long time. We could talk about that.
Go see Solbra.
I would be
some
down
other
to go
people out there. Paul's out there. I got lots of associates in California, I feel like.
There's a ton of people. There's a ton of people we know from California.
Yeah. So
I would be down to go to California. Let's take a California trip.
Yeah, I think do that. Mayhaps a birthday ski trip before Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Nice. What do you want to do you want to do a birthday celebration again this year together? What are we going to do?
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's been different. And I made this I don't know, for me it felt like radically shifting, in terms of like a mindset shift. But I basically laid out, like we've had kind of the similar schedule or just like daily life, it's like wake up, outside, walk, and then come back, and it's like do things without having to talk to people, and then do things that involve talking to people.
Yep.
And then, so that's like calls, and then like working out, obviously. But I had a really like crazy shift in my mind, and it's not that crazy, but it was just like, I'm going to set aside I'm no longer going to, I'm going to have a set time where I'm like, I've done this for the day.
I'm done.
There's always, because I feel like one thing that
100%.
Because one thing I was thinking about is like there's always more to do, and I let myself get stuck in this wheelhouse where I like not burn out, but just like am mentally fatigued.
Yes.
And one thing that I really want to start doing is, I have fun, but I feel like I'm still like leaving so much life on the table. And just like I made that shift where it's like I'm doing these for this time today, and whatever progress I make is the progress I make, and I'll hit it tomorrow because I'm going to hit it tomorrow because that's just what happens regardless.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, I'm done, and I'm just going to – and if I work some still, like, you know, for me, that's like I'll still do some stuff, or maybe we film some shit just because I want to. But after that thing is just like I'm done, and I'm going to go do something that I enjoy.
I'm super with you on that.
And be social and do that.
And we were doing that. We were doing that to a degree.
Yeah.
But I what happened is, well, at least right now, I can't do it yet. I have to finish this. Remember I told you, like, maybe a month ago, I was like, dude, it's going to be a sprint for me.
Yeah.
Next, like, month. It has been.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's almost through, though. It's kind of like,
I hear you on
there's
that.
stuff that absolutely has to get done in that day, and if it does not get done in that day,
yeah,
it's like bad.
Yeah, but
bad things happen.
I just realized that I feel like, and I know that's true for you right now, but I feel like there's a lot of times where we convince ourselves that there are these things that need to get done that day, and they don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just going to be much better for me to still, I don't know, just like experience more life, you know? Because it's like, for me, it's always been like this crazy oscillation. It's like one or the other. I'm either doing all these things or I'm like working. Yeah. And just setting up that precedent so I can do both at a high level and do that. Yeah, man, planning out some trips. I want to go on a ski trip this year. Trying to shred. Do that. Wrap up the year. I'll probably go to South America for like New Year's. Just a little trip. Come back to Miami. Keep going. Get back in the swing of MMA at some point. I'm going to start training on the beach, and then soon probably go back to the shed and get after it.
You're going to do that this year? Because I would like to do it before the end of this year. I just do know there's a lot coming up with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all that stuff and everything, so I'm not sure.
I'm going to say yes, and the reason I'm going to say yes is just because, like, that whole perspective shift for me is it's predicated on the idea that, like, we invent these reasons to wait on things that are really, like, a lot of times bullshit, I think, you know?
I would absolutely agree, but I'd also say it's not a blanket statement, and that there's many times when that's not the case.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't. It's definitely there's a lot of nuance there. But yeah, man, just doing that, and we're starting up. We've got a fully finished YouTube video that Jake and I are gonna post.
Nice. I'm posting a YouTube video tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man, just like keep
overall excited.
Yeah,
we're genuinely excited for like what's going on and what we're doing in the documentation. Because like this podcast episode, this one, the cozy episode, right? That's what we'll call it.
The cozy episode. We're super laid back right now.
Yeah.
It's like really interesting.
This episode is almost like what we want it to be long term. Not in the sense that this might be boring for some people, but really it's just like a documentation thing. I was talking with my dad about this the other day. You call him Uncle Drew.
Uncle Drew.
He loved that. He loved that, by the way, when you said on the last podcast.
I'm super glad.
And he's gonna listen to this too. But he was like, you know, you guys documenting this stuff in these videos and like the podcast, etc. Look, when you're 50 years from now, you're 50 years old. When you're my age, he said. He's like 56, 57. When you're my age and you look back at all this and you just documented it all, it's just going to be super cool for you guys. And it's true, like what we're talking about right now and what we're talking about day in and day out. So we're not talking about some like all these big podcasts. They talk about news and they talk about this and that, but they don't talk about genuinely, usually, what's going on in their lives and what's happening and you know, where they're at, whatever. This is a cool documentation thing that we can share with ourselves, our kids, just sharing our life with other people that are watching. It's very interesting. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's man, I feel like too, like that's something that is really like one of my more strongly held beliefs, and something that I coach a lot of our clients in terms of like them building their brand. It's something that I think has been really powerful in terms of me building my own brands is like, again, just like being able to give like a look behind the curtain, you know, like just make it transparent and make it maybe not like, or it's a decent word, like vulnerable, you know, like having the ability to just express fully who you are as a person, rather than, I feel like a lot of times what I see in society is people will implant other people instead of them. You know what I mean? And I think I really hate that, just because I feel like every person deep down, I feel like, has something that at the very least they have something that they could offer to the world, you know? And man, I would love to live in a world where everyone really can fully express who they are externally. I feel like it'd be a much better world to live in. Does that make sense?
I feel like we are in that world, but most people don't take advantage of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the tools are there, but most people don't. Most people are listening and commenting on our posts instead.
I mean, I don't know if I'll say that. That sounds kind of jackass, but
no, you know what I mean.
But like, even if it's not us, they're listening, and like people would rather.
No, I'm talking about the TikTok people.
Well, sure, but like as a meta, like people would. It seems as like I want to be in the mix and doing things, and I feel like there's a lot of people that.
It's like watching sports. I don't want to watch sports. I want to play them.
Yes.
Whenever I see, I'm like, oh, dude,
I want to be
play.
in the game, man.
Yeah.
I love the game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play. Let's play. And I don't know. I think that's something that really, really pertinent to me, is just like, get in the game, man. Be able to share everything.
The only reason it's fun.
Or like, there's people that I was talking to one of our guys about this today. Like, he brought up European soccer. He met a guy through soccer, through social media. I'm like, dude, I didn't know that. Like,
talk about it.
Present everything that you like love and put out there, and just express it, because if it stays in all of these things, all of these ideas, if they stay in your head, it's just, you're limited so much by them. But if you can get to the point where you can express them and put them out there, then they become your biggest asset.
Everything's more powerful. So all your thoughts and everything, they're more powerful when they're shown on social media and talked about on social media, because you naturally start to attract
even
those like-minded people, and then it benefits you greatly.
Even if it's not on social media, obviously
I'm just thinking of
I strongly recommend that. But even if it's like,
you mentioned an outlet for getting things out there. To me, I think social media right away. That's the first thing I think of.
Yeah, even if it's writing, even if it's making art, like one of the biggest things that has served me well is just putting it out there. Always putting it out there, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people would see a dramatic change in their own lives if they tried to just put more stuff out there.
Facts.
Put it out there.
So true.
Let shots fly, dog.
It doesn't even matter what you put out there, as long as it interests you.
Maybe it's just you writing.
Yeah.
Just like catalog these things.
And then when you get a little traction, you join a lot of socials, we blow you up.
Facts. Subtle plug.
Yeah, I think this is a good episode. Got a couple things we got to go do, so we'll probably end it. But any last words?
Nah, man. No last words. Mic drop.
Yeah.
So we covered the cozy episode. I hope you enjoyed the cozy episode of The Associates.
Yeah.
Next week we'll have
a little more energy. We I think we're gonna start bringing some more guests on.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I think we're gonna start bringing some more guests on.
Super interesting.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys know what to do. Go comment, like it, ask us any questions, DM us, tweet us, whatever. If you have any questions at all, we're here. We'll pretty much answer all of them, like if we see them. And the TikTok, maybe go fight in the comments for us on TikTok.
No, I don't care.
No, we don't care. It's kind of a little experiment. So
let them feed us clicks.
Yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and